Shalom and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. This is Holocaust Remembrance Day here in Israel, Yom Hashoah. At 10 a.m. this morning, the siren sounded throughout Israel and everything came to a standstill as we stood in silence in somber mourning and remembering of the 6 million Jews who was brutally murdered in the Holocaust. The list of dead Jews is just growing literally every day. I want to show you something that happened. I want to show you what happened yesterday. Look at these brave young boys. Someone's son, cousin, nephew, brother. Look at them. All in uniform, defending the Jewish homeland against all the enemies who wants to eradicate them. These 4 sons of Israel was murdered, was killed yesterday when Hamas ISIS fired 10 rockets from Rafah into Israel to the Shalom border crossing, Keren Shalom border crossing, where Israel had opened up to bring aid into the civilians inside Gaza. What did Hamas ISIS do? They fired 10 rockets from inside Rafah, inside civilian populated areas, to murder Israeli soldiers. And those 4 precious sons were killed. I want to read their names to you. Ruben, Marc, Mordechai, Assouline, 19 years old, from Renana. Testa, 19 years old, from Jerusalem. Shavit, 21, from Kfar, Giladi, and Michael Ruzal, 18, from Rishon, Lezion. I hope I pronounced everything correct. 4 precious sons of Israel murdered as we entered Yom Hashoah 2024. It is absolutely devastating, it is heartbreaking, and I'm sending my deepest condolences to the families of these precious boys, sons of Israel. Today has been peculiar. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna try and hide how difficult this day is, how painful this day is, how every breath just hurts. 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust for no other reason than being Jewish. The Jewish people came home to their God-given homeland in 48. Prophecies were fulfilled. Israel was reborn. Israel was not born. Israel was reborn, came back to the land where Jews have 1,000 years connections, to Jerusalem, where kings and prophets walked. Jerusalem, the capital since King David. And here we are in 2024 on Yom Hashoah, and 4 Israelis, 4 sons of Israel was murdered by the Nazis of this day, Hamas, inside the Gaza Strip. Normally now we have beautiful warm weather. The last several weeks we have been wearing sandals and t-shirts here in Israel, also here in Jerusalem. But today perfectly illustrates in the weather how we feel, because basically all night the rain was pouring down. I woke up here in Jerusalem to the sound and to the smell of rain. As I opened my curtains and opened my windows in my bedroom, the rain was coming down really hard. And that's the way it has been here in Israel. Then the rain stops for just a brief second and the sun peeks out. And then the clouds come in and the floodgates of heaven are opening. And then it stops, the sun peeks out just a little bit, and then the floodgates of heaven are opening again. Like God is weeping for his nation. God is weeping for his people. The people he chose out of all the people in the world. He spoke to Abraham and he said, leave and go to the nation that I will give you to you and your descendants as an eternal covenant between Abraham and his descendants and God. And that's the way God put his name down of this piece of property, of this piece of real estate in the world. God chose Israel as his very own. And the Jewish people are still being persecuted, hunted, and killed around the world and in Israel for being home in their God-given homeland. So today, like I said, at 10 a.m., the siren sounded throughout all of Israel. I recorded a small video. I was standing at the corner of King George and Jaffa Street in Jerusalem, where the light rail came to a stop. The buses, traffic, all traffic came to a stop. People came to a stop, and we just stood there in silence. And as we remembered 6 million Jews who was murdered in the Holocaust. Even more profound today, after October 7, where 1,300 people were decapitated, mutilated, burned alive, gang raped. Why? Because they were Jews, they were Israelis, living in their God-given homeland, murdered by this day's Nazis, Hamas, inside the Gaza Strip. And the world is coming against Israel. I heard a lady say on TV, how did this happen? How did we, the victims that was brutally attacked on October 7, from a genocidal terrorist organization who has one goal, and that's the eradication of us, the Jews. How did we all of a sudden become the villain? We are the victims. But yet people today in the streets are calling for the annihilations of the Jewish people. I have evil, sick people writing to me on my social media, we are going to finish what Hitler started. That's where we are at in 2024. As we are sitting here mourning 4 sons of Israel murdered on Yom Hashoah, it's a very, very painful time. As I'm looking out the window right now, the sun is out, just touching the leaves of the trees here next to my building. And then it becomes dark again and the rain is pouring down. And that's how we feel inside. So today the weather in Israel is perfectly illustrating how we are feeling. The mourning, the sadness, the despair, the pain, the trauma that we carry in this country when all the Jewish people did was coming home in their God-given homeland, the only Jewish state in the world, never started a war, always being attacked. The trauma here, especially after October 7, the grief is just tangible. You feel it everywhere. There's not one person in this country that's the same since October 7. I have pain today from here all the way down my neck. Today, on this day, for you, it's a headline that 4 Israeli soldiers were killed by ISIS Hamas. For us, it's reality. For us, it's family. We are bleeding, united as a nation, and the trauma just continues. There is no relief from the trauma and the heartache and the pain, and another funeral, and another funeral, and another funeral, murdered for no other reason than just being Jewish. So today we bow our heads in remembrance, and we mourn the 6 million Jews who were brutally murdered during the Holocaust, taking parallel to the Nazis of today, the Hamas terror organizations, who has a charter that's calling for the annihilation of the Jewish people. And your children, your nieces and nephews, your family members are marching in the streets around the world, calling for another Holocaust, calling for the eradication of the Jewish people. How in the world did the moral compass, I can't even find the words. I can't even find the words. But like I said last night before I tried to get some sleep on a voice message on my Telegram channel, it is time for all the good people around the world to wake up, speak up, get active, and do something. And come against all of this lies, propaganda, incitement, hate, demonic hate from the pit of hell that is smashing in your streets, on your university campuses around the world, screaming for the death to the Jews. So today we bow our heads and we honor and remember the people murdered in the Holocaust, the Jewish people, and the 4 sons of Israel who was brutally killed yesterday, and one of them was pronounced dead today, murdered by Hamas, ISIS, sending rockets from Rafah. So we support Israel's right 100% to go into Rafah and cut the head of the python, to cut the head of the snake. Israel has no choice in order to secure the Jewish homeland. When you start a war, you need to finish it. You can't pull out now like the whole world wants Israel to do, with the whole leadership of Hamas and 4 battalions of Hamas terrorists in their stronghold of Rafah. Israel doesn't have a choice but to finish this for the safety of the Jewish homelands, the land of the Bible, the Holy Lands. And for such a time as this, we stand united with Israel and the Jewish people in doing so. Thank you for watching. I cannot encourage you enough. Follow my Telegram channel. If you don't, you are missing out completely on all the news that I'm sharing, sometimes minute-to-minute updates that you don't see on my other social media. I'm telling you, moving forward, you have to download the app Telegram and find Jerusalem Jane if you want to stay updated, as things are just going to escalate even more moving forwards. God bless Israel, and God bless all of our friends. Bye.